friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zita, and on my channel I do DIYs and makeovers on a budget. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at OakWell Home. So let's get started on today's DIYs and see what I've created. Today I'm participating in the third Thursday thrift flips hosted by the Rusted Willow, Rustic Chicks Designs, and co-hosted by Farmhouse Frugally. So once you finish watching my video, head on down to my description box where you'll find the playlist for all the other amazing creators. I'm going to be making over this Body Shop box that I received a gift in for Christmas. It's a really sturdy box. And first I'm going to give it a good painting to cover up those logos on the top and the bottom. But the sides I wanted to keep that beautiful peach color. So I put a few coats of paint on, and this is a homemade chalk paint. So if you haven't made homemade chalk paint before, I'll leave that in my description box and you'll be able to watch a video on how to create some for yourself. So again, I painted the top and the bottom. And I gave this a dark coat on the bottom and then a white coat just to cover up those logos. So I have a couple of tissue papers here from the Dollar Tree. So if you don't have any decoupage paper on hand, you can head to your dollar store and find some gift tissue paper or some napkins. And I'm sanding down the paint here with a fine sanding sponge and then giving it a wipe before I start my decoupage process. So guys, if you have some old boxes like this, you can certainly upcycle them and make them into a beautiful gift box, especially sturdy boxes like this. You could even try this with a shoe box. So this tissue paper is a little thinner than some decoupage papers. So you're going to want to be a little careful with this. And I work from the center out. And the reason why you paint your underneath white is so that you get the brightness of the paper. If you don't want that brightness, you can paint it a darker color if you want. But I wanted that paper to look bright, so I painted it white. And I work from the center out by applying my Mod Podge halfway and then laying it down with a soft plastic. And I use a disposable shower cap from the Dollar Tree because it's a really soft plastic and less potential for the tissue paper to rip. And when you're smoothing it out, like I said, go carefully because you don't want to rip the paper. Now I could have easily ripped it right there by kind of pulling it up again, because sometimes once it sticks to that Mod Podge, it's down there, and if you try to pick it up, it may rip. And I think I did rip it in a little spot there you see me dabbing, but I just dabbed it in place and it turned out fine. And I'm going to be putting some print on top of this paper, so if there's some wrinkles, that's okay. It's still going to look beautiful. So then I start working from the center to the other half and applying the rest of my tissue paper down. What do you guys think of this tissue paper? Do you like this tie-dye look tissue paper, or do you think I should have used that floral one? Now I did leave the side of this box peach because I really did like that peach color, and I thought the peachy orange in this tie-dye looking tissue paper matched the box really nicely. So once that is dry, I use a fine sanding block and sand off the remainder of the tissue. And you can keep this tissue paper, guys, if you have like a little small project that you want to use it for, to cover up something small. So I did not throw this out. I kept it, but you know, if you want to throw it out, you can go ahead, but I don't want to waste all this paper. I can use it on a little project. So I go around the whole piece and sand off that paper and then just kind of clean up the edges. What do you think, guys? So now I'm not finished with this. I'm going to apply a top coat of Mod Podge. Now I let my Mod Podge dry most of the time if I have time to let it dry. If not, you can do this after you've applied your undercoat of Mod Podge, and then you can apply your top coat. But I find there's less room for it to rip if you let the Mod Podge dry and then apply your top coat of Mod Podge. So I'm just giving the bottom coat here some coats of paint that kind of match the box. Now you don't really have to, you know, do the bottom if you're just giving this to a niece or keeping it for yourself, but I wanted to cover up that whole logo. Even if you couldn't see it, I knew it was covered up in my own head. So I painted it peach color. I think I gave it a few coats. And now I'm going to use some IOD stamps, and these are awesome stamps. I forget the name of them off the top of my head, but they're 4 different textured prints here on this piece. And I just cut them into 4s. And if they're new, you're going to want to give them light sanding first, so your ink or your paint or whatever you're using has some tooth to hang on to on your stamps. So you can then just put it on your piece. So I'm just cutting out the piece that I want here. I actually do cut all 4 of them out. And then I'm applying a gold ink, and this is kind of going to give the piece like a crackle effect now. These stamps I've used so many times, so IOD stamps are a little pricey, but once you have them, they're going to last you a lifetime because they're very well made. Isn't that beautiful, guys? And I'm using this roller here that I picked up from Amazon. Now you can just use your hands too, which you'll see me do a little bit later here. I find just using my hands was fine too, because I just press it in place. The roller, I find, was sliding the stamp around a little bit, so I did kind of just press it down with my hands. And I'm just trying out some of these different textures on here. This one kind of has like a shiplap kind of print on it. And I'm just kind of going around the box in different areas and just giving it some texture, and it turns out beautiful. Let me know in the comments if you guys have used any of these stamps. Isn't that beautiful? So it kind of looks like crackle. Now I have these other IOD stamps, these butterfly stamps, and I'm using a purple ink kind of to match the purple on the tissue paper here. And I'm using some thin mount to press that down. Now I did use my roller again, and you'll see me later just press it down with my hands. And now I'm just applying a little dragonfly, and I'm using a navy ink on that one. Aren't these stamps beautiful? Isn't that beautiful, guys? So now I thought I'm going to also put her name on it. So these stamps that I have here, they're called letterpress, and I get a lot of use out of these stamps. So if you're gonna buy some of these stamps, I would suggest this one for sure, because you're gonna get a lot of use out of this one for a lot of different projects. So this is where you'll see it's gonna go sideways. So that ink was not dry, and this is what happened. So before you apply a top coat to your piece, maybe give it a clear coat of Rust-Oleum spray, or wait till the next day and kind of test it in a little area to see if it's dry, because I find some inks dry faster than others. So yeah, that wasn't dry, so I wiped it all away and put her name on there again, and then I wait till that was dry and made sure it was completely dry before I applied a top coat. So this is what it looked like before. And look at this beautiful piece now that I made for my niece, and I put some Christmas gifts in there for her, and I thought she can put this in her room after it has her name on it. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this upcycle. For this next DIY, I have this cupboard door or drawer piece from the Habitat for Humanity, and as you can see, it has some slats cut out there on the side. So I'm gonna fix that up by using some Durham's water putty, and I'm gonna have to put some tape and cardboard in place on the side there. And I'm not going to cover up those big circles in the back because you can probably hang it off the wall with that. Now I do put a hanger on it as well, but this was a gift for my sister. I'm going to put some bird transfers on it. But first, yeah, I'm just applying the tape to the side here and then some cardboard inside. I'm just kind of making a little mold here to put my Durham water putty in. So, you know, I have a finished side to paint up. So the instructions are on the container there on how to mix this up. I can't recall now the ratio, but the directions are on the container. So once that's mixed up, I'm going to pour that into the little mold that I made here, and then I'm going to let that dry. And once that's dry, I'm going to take that tape off and the mold inside, the cardboard mold inside, and sand that up, and then I have a side to be able to paint up. And so there's the side that's ready for sanding. And then this had a big slit in the top here too. So for that, because it was so thin, I thought I'd use a wood filler here on the top. And I let that dry and then was able to sand both sides and then get it ready for painting. So if you see a piece like this at the Habitat or at the thrift store, don't think that it's useless and that you can't use it. You can just do something like this and then you have a piece ready to use. So, you know, you may be able to find a less expensive price on something like this at the Habitat or at the thrift store because, you know, they think it's garbage, but it's really not. You can fix it up like this just by covering it up with some Durham's water putty or some wood filler. So now I'm using a blue paint here as my first coat because I want to distress this piece, and when I distress it I want some of that blue to show through, and because it's going to match the bird transfer that I put on this. So I put a couple of coats of that on, and then I'm putting a polyacrylic on top of that because when I distress it back, I don't want that paint to come off. So that polyacrylic is going to help that paint to stay there once you distress it. So now I'm putting a few coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I had this paint before I made my own chalk paint. So once that's dry, I am taking a wet cloth and I am wet distressing it back to the blue. So if you didn't apply that polyacrylic, you may be taking off some of your blue paint as well, and then it would show the white. So that's why you need to put the polyacrylic, or you could put a Rust-Oleum clear coat on top as well. Just something to seal in that bottom color. So I'm just distressing that back and it turns out so nice. What do you think of that color, guys? Now you'll see once I put the bird transfer on there how that looks really nice. So there's the bird transfer from the IOD transfer book, and there's lots of different transfers in here that you can use for so many projects. And these are so awesome to work with. You just stick it in place and then use your tool to burnish it down, and this makes for a quick piece. Let me know in the comments if you have tried these transfers, whether IOD or some other brand. Now I do have decoupage paper like this as well, and if you've watched some of my previous videos, you will have seen me use a decoupage paper with these exact birds on a canvas piece from the dollar store. So if you haven't seen that, go back in my videos, or I'll put it in the description box, and you can see me use a decoupage paper like this. And I've also used another set of transfers like this. They had two different styles of birds on wire in this package, and I did put it on another cupboard door, longer piece, longer cupboard door, or a drawer front, whatever it is, and it turned out really nice too. And I gave that gift to my mom. So my sister saw my mom's piece and she wanted one made for her, so I made this one for her and just put the blue background on hers. So once it's burnished down, you can use that plastic to burnish it down a little bit more. And then I did put a top coat on this, but I don't know if I got the footage of that. So I put a wax on top of this, guys. You can put a polyacrylic as well. So let me know in the comments what you think of this beautiful piece. For this next DIY, I picked up these plain white tiles from the Habitat. Now, as you can see, they're not completely flat. They kind of have like this little ripple effect in them. These would be beautiful on a kitchen backsplash or a bathroom backsplash. So first, I'm going to apply some Mod Podge because I'm not going to paint them since they're already white. I thought I'd try doing these coasters without painting them with the chalk paint and just putting the Mod Podge on and letting that dry. Now I'm picking out my napkins here, and I keep all my napkins and tissue paper in this binder here. So I picked out these beautiful goat napkins, which I got from Ninny Napkins. So if you're looking for some awesome napkins, I'll leave a 10% off coupon code in my description box if you want to head over to Ninny Napkins and pick out some beautiful napkins. They have so many beautiful napkins. It'll make your head spin. But my sister really likes goats, so I made these for her for Christmas. So you want to cut your napkins in four now and take all the layers off your napkins, and make sure you have all the layers, guys, because sometimes they have 2 layers and sometimes there's 3. So make sure you get all those layers off or your project's going to go sideways. So I'm doing the iron-on method with these. I thought I'd try it. I haven't tried this on a plain coaster like this before. So actually, yes, I did do some for Christmas. If you haven't seen that, go back and see it. I did some beautiful cardinal with a green background. It's beautiful. So I have my iron on the cotton setting here, and there's no water in it, so you don't put water in it because you don't want the steam. So what this is doing, the heat is activating that Mod Podge. And I'm just kind of getting the sides and the top here. And I'm just pressing it down and getting it in place. And if you hear a dog in the background, that's my dog. He's jumping around. He likes to do that when I'm editing. So anyway, so once I got that on there, and it turned out so smooth, it's turned out beautiful. So once that was done, I take all that excess napkin off there with a fine sanding block, and you'll see here how smooth that is. Look how smooth that iron process turned out. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out because, like I said, that tile had a slight ripple to it. So what I'm doing now to make these coasters heat proof is applying this Polyvine heavy duty varnish, and this is called Dead Flat. So there's no sheen to this at all, guys. So it looks like you don't even have a top coat on there, but there is. I put 4 coats of that on there because I wanted to make sure that it was resistant to heat and you know, staining and stuff like that. So what I'm doing here is putting an antiquing wax on the side, just so the coasters look more finished and I don't have that raw edge exposed. Now you can put like napkin on the sides as well if you want, but that would be a little harder. It was a little harder with this process that I was doing with the iron-on method. So I picked up this grip mat here from the Dollar Tree, and I cut it out into squares, and I'm just going to hot glue that in place on the bottom, and then these coasters are done. Let me know in the comments what you think of these beautiful goat coasters. Would you use something like this? And I hope all of these projects gave you some inspiration today. And don't forget to give me a like and a comment and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so YouTube will notify when I post new videos, and that will help my channel grow. So I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day. Bye.